Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about my idea for a Walking Dead movie starring Abraham Ford, played by Michael Cutlitz, and Daniel Salazar, played by Ruben Blades. But first I want to say that this video contains spoilers for both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. So with that, let's begin. A while back it was said that a Walking Dead movie starring Abraham and Daniel was apparently in the early stages of development, but since then no further information about the movie has been announced. Some may think that the movie was cancelled. Personally, I think it's still going to happen. As we all know, Scott Gimple wants to expand the universe of The Walking Dead, and some of the ideas he has involves backstories on characters both living and dead. So here's my idea for an Abraham and Daniel movie. The movie starts off right after the dam explosion at the end of season 3. We see Daniel wash up somewhere far away from the rest of the Fear group, and he wants revenge against the Proctors for attacking his home and killing Lola. We see him head back to El Bazaar to find and kill Proctor John. But when he gets there he sees that the place is almost empty. There are very few people around and even less guards. So Daniel tries to enter to see if he can get any information on what happened when he is stopped by the teller. She tells him that he needs to pay to get in, but Daniel doesn't have time for this, so he just ignores her and heads in. Guards then try to stop him, but Daniel immediately kills them, and after this more guards start to come out along with Mary Lou. She asks what he wants and he says that he's looking for Proctor John. She then tells him that he, along with most of the other guards, have left for Texas. Daniel is then about to leave when he is stopped by Mary Lou, and she tells him that he can't just leave after killing some of the remaining guards, so they get into a shootout. Daniel manages to take the last few guards down and kills Mary Lou along with the teller. He then takes some supplies along with a car and leaves for Texas. And also once he kills like the last remaining guards at El Bazaar, he kind of makes the place open to the public, so a bunch of survivors get in there and they take what's left when it comes to supplies. Once he gets to Texas, he comes across Abraham's group. And at first they are entrusting of each other, but over time they start building trust. We see Daniel meet Abraham's family, including their pet cat Skidmark. We also get to see the group Abraham was around, which is made up of people he knew, like military buddies and neighbours. We see that the group is staying at a warehouse, and we also see that Abraham has traps all around the area. I know I'm skipping a lot of details here, but you know, you get the point. There is a lot that would go into this movie, and I'm kind of just giving a quick like overview of the of my idea for the plot. Eventually we see Daniel wanting to leave so he can find the Proctors, but before he does we see Abraham decide to help him for all the good Daniel has done for Abe's group. We then see Abraham and Daniel take down the Proctors in a climactic battle, and after that Abraham decides to move on to another place with his family. He asks if Daniel wants to come with him, but Daniel declines and decides to spend the rest of his life in the warehouse surviving. But before Abraham's group leaves, Abe's kids give Skidmark to Daniel for protection. Abraham then hands Daniel a cigar, telling him to save it for when things get better. We then follow Abraham for a while, and then we see that Abraham's group does something horrible to Abraham's family, and if you read the comic you know what this group did to Abraham's family, and they've never really elaborated on it in the TV show, so I imagine they could actually elaborate on it here. So yeah, the group does something horrible to Abraham's family while Abraham is on a run. When he gets back, his wife tells him what happens and that she wants to leave and go back to the warehouse, but Abraham decides to kill all of his group after the shit they did. This then scares his wife and his kids, and this is where we then see the flashback from The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5, Self-Help. So we see Abraham, he finds his family like he does in the flashback, and he's about to commit suicide when he then sees Eugene, and decides to help him. Eugene then tells him that he has a very important mission. The movie then ends. We then see an after credits scene where Abraham and Eugene are travelling to DC, where they then come across another survivor. This survivor then introduces herself as Althea, and she asks them, "What's your story?" And that's where it ends. There's definitely more that could happen in a movie like this, but I just wanted to give an example as to what an Abraham and Daniel movie could be like. Because most fans love Fear Season 3, I thought it would be a good idea to have this be a story that wraps up some of the loose ends from the third season, those loose ends being what happened to the Proctors and Mary Lou. I thought it would also be a good way to bridge the gap between Season 3 and 4 of Fear, as the story starts off right after the dam and ends with the introduction of Althea. I also think it would be cool if they got Dave Erickson, the original Fear showrunner, to work on this movie, as I think Dave still works with AMC, and he, from what it seems like, he is still on good terms with them, and it would be a nice way for Dave to come back to the franchise. One other thing they should do is the day the movie is released, they should release another episode of the Althea Tapes web series, where we see the tape she recorded of Abraham and Eugene, and in the tape Abe should mention the warehouse and that there is another survivor there. This would then explain how Althea knew about Daniel. One thing I also want to bring up is, why doesn't Abraham go back to Daniel before he heads to DC? Well, the reason is that in the last scene between Abraham and Daniel, when Daniel says he doesn't want to leave the warehouse, he should tell Abraham that he wants to spend the rest of his days there, and pretty much nothing will get him to leave, because after he deals with the Proctors, he kind of just stays behind and grieves over what happened to Ophelia and Lola. And that's why Abraham decides not to go back. One last thing I want to mention, there is something I think Fear Season 6 should mention. Daniel is confirmed to be returning in Season 6, as he was even seen in the trailer. One thing I think we should see is a flashback of where Daniel goes between Fear Season 5 Episode 4 and Episode 8 when he returns, as that is one thing I really want to know, because we see him leave at the end of Episode 4 and we don't know what he does while he's gone. And then he comes back in Episode 8 with the Christmas lights, so I think it would be interesting to see what he did, and maybe that could also be more set up for the movie, because chances are this movie won't be out for another while, probably long after Season 6. So it'd be nice to know what he was doing. Like, was he looking for Abraham, or what? Like, what? You know, we gotta get the details, you know? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas for an Abraham and Daniel movie, please leave them in the comments. I would love to see what ideas you have. If you liked my idea for an Abraham and Daniel movie, you might like my idea for a dog web series. I did that video several months ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it is on my channel somewhere. I might put this in a playlist of ideas for upcoming Walking Dead projects. So yeah, I'll do a playlist for that. Anyway, so one quick thing I do want to talk about off script is that an Abraham and Daniel movie, there is a lot that could go into it, because you know, you can tie in Althea, you can tie in Eugene, you can tie in Abraham's family and get more confirmation on what exactly happened with his family, why Abraham snapped and killed those people in the way he did. We could also see how Skidmark, you know, joined Daniel, and it would also explain why we don't see Skidmark in Abraham's flashbacks. And not only that, but the it would also be a good way to start Abraham and Eugene's journey, and it does lead nicely into The Walking Dead Season 4, when Abraham of course appears in that. And it might be a bit tricky getting Eugene in this movie, because it doesn't look like Eugene is being killed off The Walking Dead anytime soon. So hopefully, you know, they could, like Josh McDermott, the actor that plays Eugene, he could find some time to film this, because as I said, in my idea for this movie, Eugene appears towards the end of it, and then an after credit scene. So he's basically in about like 5 minutes of the movie, and then you could do that web series, which you could film that in Georgia and just make it look like Texas, and just be like, oh yeah, that's where they filmed that video. So, you know, it would be a cool little way to tie more of the world together, and it'd also be a nice way to bring Abraham back to the franchise, as you know, he was one of the best characters from the original series, and Daniel of course is my favorite character from Fear the Walking Dead. So thanks everyone for watching this video, and goodbye.